What is up, bros and broettes? I am Inkslasher, and welcome to another episode of Top 10 Emblems. This is the series where we look at the emblems made by you guys and submitted to me, and we rank them in a top 10 list. Now, as always, these emblems, as I mentioned, are submitted by you guys, and if you would like to submit your emblems or paint jobs to a future video, and you could possibly get them featured, the way to do so is send a high-resolution screenshot to my Twitter. Now, my Twitter link is down in the description, or you can send the images to @Inkslasher. Now, before we hop into the emblems, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been watching all the videos on the channel, been sending me tweets on Twitter. You guys are so incredibly supportive. It is amazing. And as always with this video, if you do enjoy the top 10 emblems, if you do enjoy the top 10 paint jobs and want to see more of them, the best way to show me is simply hitting that like button, because the more likes these video gets, the more likely I am to continue on with this series. So without further ado, I've talked enough. Let's hop in to the top 10 emblems this week. Now, coming in at number 10, we have one sent in by Quacker's Ducks. And of course, everyone watching knows who this is. This is Stewie from Family Guy, of course. And the reason why I really like this one is there's not a ton of texture, shading, anything like that. But this looks like Stewie from the very first season of Family Guy. Now, he doesn't look like this anymore in the cartoons, but this actually looks like what Stewie looked like very early on in the cartoon, and it kind of brought me back to the day when Family Guy first came out, and I thought that was pretty cool. So it may not have the shading or detail that some of the other emblems did, but it really did bring back some nostalgia for me. Up next at number 9, we've got one sent in by Moss Shuttner over on Twitter, and this one is, of course, the Rainbow Six Siege logo. Now, I really like what he did here, and quite honestly, I think that this logo actually looks better than some of the actual Rainbow Six Siege logos that they actually put out. I think he did an incredibly good job with this, and even the color grading in the background, ranging from that dark black to a lighter gray, makes this thing look really good and adds a little bit of texture to this. So I think he did a really good job here, and hey, this one's even pretty simple. If you look at the layers used, he only used 24 out of 64. So for a very simple emblem, he did a really good job with it. Up next, coming in at number 8, we've got one by Panda is Key 03. Now, once again, we've got a pretty simple emblem here. This is the Mirror's Edge logo, but what I love that he did with this emblem is by using certain shading in certain areas, instead of making this look just like a flat logo, he made it look like it's almost like a flag blowing in the wind, simply by adding shading in certain parts of it. And I really love that, and that simple feature makes this logo look so much better. The next emblem we have here is sent in by DibicTT on Twitter, and this one is fascinating. I couldn't decide whether to put this one higher on the list, but we ended up putting this one at number 7, and this one is the Black Ops 2 logo. Now, this one is incredible because the entire silhouette of the soldier's head is created out of these various layers, and it's really hard to create art like this in the emblem creator. So I was really impressed with what he did here and how similar he actually made this thing look to the actual logo. So like I said, I couldn't figure out whether this should be higher on the list or not. So if you have a favorite emblem in the video, let me know what your favorite is down in the comments below. But up next, coming in at number 6, we've got one by Canales Joshua. Sorry if I butchered your name, but this one's for all the Fortnite fans. We've got a llama here, and this one just looks really good. It kind of continues over the cartoony nature of Fortnite, and it just looks really, really good. But it's okay. He's got you covered if you're not a Fortnite fan, because he's also made an emblem of a dead llama. And honestly, I really like what he did here, whether you're a Fortnite fan or not. I love how he put the blood splatter on the ground, the tongue sticking out. And like I said, if you're a Fortnite fan or not, this guy has an emblem for you. And up next at number 5, we are at that halfway point. We've got one sent in by Angry Bulldog Gaming on YouTube. And it is, of course, at that time of year, which means we've got a Grinch emblem. And honestly, I am so impressed with this one. The Grinch in this emblem honestly looks better than the Grinch did in the original cartoons, which is so impressive that he was able to make this out of layers in a Call of Duty game. I'm always impressed by these. On top of that, you look at the detail, you can see the snow falling in the background, you can see the shadow of the Grinch himself. All in all, it's just so damn impressive what he did here. Honestly, out of all of the emblems we look at today, this one is probably my favorite, but that might just be because I love the Grinch and I've loved Christmas so damn much. Up next at number 4, we've got one sent in by Noctis_WZ on Twitter, and this one is of the character 2B from the video game Nier Automata. Now, personally, I haven't played the game, but I knew who this character was right away. Now, I think there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, she's one of the main characters in the game, and I have seen her cosplayed a ton of times. Now, if you don't know what this character normally looks like, here's an image of her, but you can very clearly see the resemblance of the emblem, and I think they did a really good job at recreating this with all of the shading, lighting, and really making this emblem look pretty 3D and very well done. And that is why this one has got that number 4 spot this week. After this, moving into the top 3, we've got one by iking_21, and this is Miriam from the anime Hunter x Hunter. Now, if you haven't watched Hunter x Hunter, I very highly recommend it. I'm not that huge into anime, but this is one of the few that I really do enjoy. So, this is Miriam. I know I'm not pronouncing it perfectly for those of you who are big fans, but he did a really great job of recreating this character. Here's an image of what this character normally looks like in the show, but as you can see here, he made a really great recreation down to the texture on the head, even the shading underneath the eyes makes this character look so good and 3D, and with all of that shading and detail put in, he really brought this character to life and did a very good job doing so. Up next at number 2, I absolutely love this one. It is by Navaldi1 on Twitter, and this is, of course, Batman holding a Batarang, and I really love what he did here. The shading and light around the edges of the Batarang really bring this one together, and then the shading on the edges really make it look 3D. Now, I like this one, and I was putting it on the list for sure, but originally it was a lower spot on the list until I actually compared it to the original image, and compared to the original image, he did such a good job recreating it, I had to put it higher on the list. I was so impressed with how similar this actually looked to the original image that I had to have it all the way up there. So I think this is incredibly well done, and he did a great job recreating the Batarang. And up next at number 1 for the second week in a row, this is the same person who has been in the number 1 spot. This one is by Babyfoot Emblem Creator on YouTube. And honestly, if you've never checked out this guy's channel, all of the social medias for everyone who submitted an emblem is linked down in the description. And Babyfoot has a ton of amazing emblems, and this is simply one example. Now, this is the outline of a samurai, and I don't know how he did this with only 64 layers. Honestly, the detail in and throughout the hat, even the arm shoulder pads of this samurai is so in depth, and it looks so good. Like I said, I don't know how he did this with only 64 layers. Now, on top of the samurai, I really love how he brought the background and the moon in the background all together. It looks incredible. It looks like something you'd see in a painting on one of the maps in the background, and I'm just incredibly impressed with how well he did with only 64 layers on this emblem. But if you disagree with me, if you don't think this is the best emblem out of the 10 we looked at today, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. What is your favorite emblem out of the ones we looked at today? Or you can even let me know what your top 3 were down in the comments. But guys, if you are someone who likes creating paint jobs and emblems and would like to submit them to a future video, the way to do so is make sure you have a high resolution screenshot and send them to me on Twitter. As I mentioned before, my Twitter link is down in the description, or you can simply send it to @Inkslasher. And simply by doing that, your paint job or emblem will be submitted to a future video. And on top of that, guys, as I mentioned earlier, if you do enjoy this type of video, you like seeing the top 10 paint jobs or top 10 emblems, the best way to show me is simply by hitting that like button. First of all, hitting that like button helps out the channel, and on top of that, it shows me that you enjoy this type of video and would like to see more on the channel. So basically, it keeps this series going. On top of that, if you like what you see on this channel and you're not already subscribed, subscribing and turning notifications on is the best way to stay up to date on all of my videos. On top of that, you can stay up to date on everything revolving around this channel by checking out the rest of my social medias down in the description. I got Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, all of that kind of stuff all in the description, so feel free to check those out. And guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.